unpack. We unpack. We unpack. Coming to you live. Boxing Ego unpack. Yeah. We unpack. We unpack. We unpack. Coming to you live. Gennady Golovkin turns 38 today, making the Canelo trilogy fight less desirable for me, and I want to talk about it. What up, fight world? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. Make sure you smash the like button. Also subscribe to my channel for the latest and greatest in boxing. If you want to become part of the gang, notification gang, please hit the bell icon. Shout out to the Super Chats channel donations, the Venmo donations, the Cash App, and the Patreon family. We working. Right now, we're pushing the ESPN Plus bundle. That includes ESPN Plus, Hulu, and Disney Plus. All three apps, $12.99 a month. I personally have all three, and it might just help you get through this quarantine. You know, people locked down, can't go anywhere unless you have an essential job or essential needs. And, you know, it's difficult times. We're going to get through this. But if you need some more content to help keep your mind clear and something to do to occupy your time, because you can't just work around the clock, then you could check that out. It does help the channel when you guys click on that link. Get the ESPN Plus bundle. Again, ESPN Plus, Hulu, Disney Plus, $12.99 a month. Let's get it. Now, I just want to make this video. And I've talked about this, but I want to do an updated video. Gennady Golovkin, it's his birthday today. Happy birthday to Gennady Golovkin. Don't really know what he's doing. My birthday was March 25th during this Rona stuff. So, it's not much a lot of us can do. A lot of states, cities, and stuff are on lockdown. I don't know if he's in Kazakhstan or if he's in California. I don't know where he's at right now. Haven't really heard much from him, to be honest. But happy birthday to Golovkin. Now, he turned 38, and, it's not, Aaliyah once said, age ain't nothing but a number. And it's not just his age, but the more I keep thinking about the Canelo versus Triple G fight, sometimes I have a thought process. I'll give it some time. I'll let time elapse, see how I feel later. And the more I think about this fight and the more I hear little stuff like Golovkin just turned 38, little things like that, the less I want to see that particular fight. The DAZN curse is alive and well. They seemingly have a lot of mishaps and haphazards that come about. Obviously, they couldn't control the pandemic, but they were just about to launch globally in UK and some other markets. And right before they had an opportunity to, and before they even announced Canelo, Billy Joe Saunders, which I told you was pushing it, they had, little time, and they never even announced the fight officially. So just some real weird business model and decisions and stuff. And then now when they're about to go globally, the economy, everybody's economy worldwide is taking a massive hit, a huge hit in terms of this Rona virus has hit the world very hard, and it slowed down the production of live events. Health comes first, and that's more important than boxing or NBA or any other sport. So they never got an opportunity to advance to those different markets, one being the UK. Now, when this is all over, and then, we get this pandemic under control, then who knows what the economy is going to be like? Well, who knows how much extra money people will have for nuanced things? We'll have to just wait and see how that plays out. But I know one fight that we don't know if Canelo is going to fight Billy Joe Saunders anymore, because he put himself in a bad positioning by doing that video where he was basically telling people during this quarantine to advice or a tutorial or whatever about how to abuse and hit your lady, your old lady, your girlfriend, spouse, if they're giving you lip. So he's not in the most favorable position, Billy Joe Saunders. Canelo didn't do anything wrong, but Billy Joe Saunders did. So with the Rona knocking all of boxing out for the foreseeable future, who knows if DAZN's new directive when boxing resumes will be to even have the Canelo versus Billy Joe Saunders. Because you have to keep in mind, it is already about to be mid-April, and then, Canelo fight, which I told you they never announced, was supposed to be Cinco de Mayo weekend, so less than a month from today's date. So that's obviously not happening. Vegas has been shut down. All events in Vegas. You're having the UFC have to go to resort to private islands or whatever they're planning on doing to try to host events. You know what I mean? So everything's shot and suspended and frozen right now. So I really don't know what's going to be next. Is Canelo going to still somehow try to fight Billy Joe Saunders and then try to fight Golovkin in September? Or with a long layoff for everybody, is he going to go straight to the Golovkin fight? But the whole situation seems kind of messed up. Like I said, it's Golovkin's birthday today. He's 38. It's not necessarily a spring chicken, a fresh spring chicken. 38 is not old for, just a regular person's sake. But in boxing, 38 is usually when you see fighters and they're on the back half of their career and or not looking like themselves and a shell that form themselves. And the only people that have really defied this are the people who didn't rely on like athleticism. Like even my favorite fighter, Roy Jones Jr., highly athletic, relied on speed, reflex, athleticism. So as soon as that slowed up, it made him more human because he was Mr. Untouchable from late 80s all the way to the early 2000s. But, Father Time is pretty undefeated. And the only guys like Bernard Hopkins and Mayweather and even Pacquiao a little bit, they've been able to defy that, Juan Manuel Marquez, but they all have either great fundamentals or some type of X factor that kind of makes them anomalies. Like all the guys are pretty fast, most of the guys that I've named, or they have like I said, they have basic fundamentals of boxing, sweet science, technical skills. When I look at Gennady Golovkin, he doesn't really have much of an X factor. His X factor is probably something you shouldn't rely on, like his chin. He does have a very good chin, and he hasn't been dropped or stopped to this point. But that's not something later in your career when Father Time starts to step in and you have inactivity where you should rely on that. He doesn't. So his plan B, he doesn't have like let's say Floyd Mayweather. Floyd Mayweather can graduate and evolve from Pretty Boy Floyd Mayweather to Money Mayweather, where his hands start giving him hand issues and brittle, but he could continue winning because he's the smartest fighter doing it. Arguably the smartest fighter that we've ever seen. He has ring IQ. He has intelligence. He doesn't derive from the game plan. He has respectable power you must respect. He has pinpoint accuracy. He's a sniper. He has a defense. He can fight offensively. He can fight defensively. He can intertwine the two. He can fight off the ropes. He is a complete fighter. But when I look at Golovkin's rise, a lot of it was kind of overstated. And to me, he wasn't those complete fighter. He didn't exude those types of qualities that make such a complete fighter. He was a good fighter and he was good at a couple things. But like Floyd once said about Golovkin, oh, he's cool. No special effects. He's straight up and down, no special effects. And once again, it's looking like Floyd Stradamus and Igor Stradamus was accurate, because I understood why Floyd said that, because I myself had said that about Golovkin. Now at age 38, it's looking almost undoubtedly that the outcome to a Canelo versus Golovkin fight, it only ends one of two ways, and that's with Canelo being the victor, either by a decision, albeit controversial or regular, he should have won type of decision, or by Canelo knocking out Golovkin. I've thought about this long and hard. I've pondered it, and nobody's ever since been able to change my opinion on this. Nobody's been able to enlighten me or give me a different point of view that makes me believe otherwise. When I look at it, Golovkin, if you already fought 24 rounds with Canelo, right? You never dropped him. You did hurt him, but you never dropped him. And he hurt you too, by the way, right? But you could never drop him, and you never stopped him, obviously, because you never even dropped him. So you couldn't stop him or drop him. And even in your best performance out of the first two fights, the first fight, they still didn't give it to you. You were undefeated. You had been hyped up by HBO and old media, and they still didn't give you the fight in a close fight. So now looking at a 38-year-old Golovkin now, and looking at Golovkin who's coming off of a longer layoff. I told you this from the beginning. Check the old videos. This is the great thing, people, about this digital mob and YouTube, is I have a paper trail to everything I do. All of my work is documented and it's etched in the history books. And I told you, Golovkin he went the Amir Khan route. He got so fixated and caught up in trying to pursue a big fight with X, Y, and Z. For Amir Khan, it was big fights with Floyd Mayweather, big fights with Manny Pacquiao, that he wasted so much time, and then he started, really standing for those fights. Dear Ego, I wrote you, but you still ain't calling, and that seemed to be, it took him out of his whole element of who he was, both Amir Khan and Triple G. And what I mean is, Amir Khan started being less, he had opportunities with Devin Alexander. Fight fell apart. He pulled out of the fight thinking he was going to get Mayweather, and then Mayweather chose Maidana, stuff like that, and then eventually Amir Khan waited, and so desperate for a big fight and a big paycheck, then he moved up in weight, which was foolish, which I told you, Ego Stradamus, and he fought Canelo, which he was way too big and too strong. He couldn't make no mistakes, and we seen how that played out. A snot rocket came out of Amir Khan's nose when Canelo fought him. Amir Khan was like, eesh, eesh, eesh. And then Canelo just, end of story, got him out of here. So Amir Khan and Golovkin, what they chose to do in pursuant to those big fights is the same thing. Triple G got so enthralled and involved in trying to clout chase and get a Canelo fight that he stopped doing what Triple G had done throughout his career. If you remember, Triple G would fight maybe 4 times, at least 3 times a year, albeit it wasn't the big names, but he was still fighting actively. That has since slowed down. So I just don't see any way that Triple G Canelo is the fight that some people think is going to be. I thought Canelo definitely won the second fight, and Triple G looked worse. It looks like if we look at Canelo's skill set, he's still Canelo. He didn't look that great to me versus Kovalev, but he knocked Kovalev out, whatever. Even though it looked FAF, whatever. He got that. And then he looked he was a kind of a 5-6 round fighter, but he looked very sharp in the beginning rounds of the Jacobs fight. You see? His defense was on point. He made Jacobs threw 5 punches, and Canelo, I was born ready. He was slipping all of it. I was born ready. So the defense was looking on point. So Canelo, we know, is a more skillful, complete fighter. What is Golovkin going to do at age 38, coming off of, again, long layoffs? When he lost to Canelo, he took a year plus off. He got offers from PBC, from ESPN, and DAZN. He finally chose DAZN, so that whole time, he wasn't really fighting. Came back, fought Steve Rolls, didn't even look good in that fight, was getting touched up by a guy who's inexperienced, never fought a 12-rounder before, never really fought outside of Canada. And then Golovkin gets a stoppage, which was very predictable at a catchweight. Steve Rolls, some of you guys don't know, he was a 168-pound fighter, and Golovkin was at 160. So instead of the comeback at 168, Golovkin tapped him down to a 164, I believe, catchweight. You see what I'm saying? And Golovkin still didn't look exceptional. And then the fight after that, Golovkin versus Deryevchenko, he really didn't look exceptional. And it looked like he was about to get dropped, stopped, or something. And the ref kind of jumped in the way. But either way, Deryevchenko really beat the brakes off of Golovkin and beat him. So I have no interest in Canelo Triple G. The DAZN curse has continued. I think they waited. I think they squandered opportunities. And everything I said regarding this situation has come true. The DAZN curse strikes again, absolutely. I believe it. You guys could try to convince me otherwise in the comment section. I would love to hear it. But I told you, when Canelo was scheduled at the beginning of last year to fight Jacobs, the best thing that DAZN could have done, if they really wanted Canelo versus Golovkin, they just had signed, because Canelo came to DAZN before Golovkin. He was already signed up to fight in a unification, Danny Jacobs. The best thing that DAZN could have done was to make Triple G earn his paycheck, because he got equity with the DAZN company. They were giving him a crazy amount of money, considering that he's not a draw unless he's fighting Canelo. And it's not my personal opinion. The numbers show you that. If Triple G has not fought Canelo, he has never done anywhere near 1 million views. Nowhere near 1 million views unless he has fought Canelo. So that's by design. When he fought Lemieux on pay-per-view, it was a bust. When he fought Jacobs on pay-per-view, it was a bust. The only time his pay-per-view was successful was when he fought Canelo, who brings in brings the star power. And I'm not talking about the quality of fights, because I was at the Jacobs Triple G fight. It was a fun fight. I'm talking about accolades and, acclaim and star power. The Triple G, every time he has solo outings on pay-per-view against anybody not named Canelo, he did 94 to 150,000 pay-per-view buys, unless he was fighting Canelo. So I don't really see the outcome being favorable for Triple G. I think he's going to get beat. I think he's going to get beat up and possibly stopped. He's 38 years old. He doesn't have the style that will give him longevity like a B-Hop, who's able to fight Kovalev, later in his career, and Bebot Shumanov, and at the time, Tavoris Clout. B-Hop's a different animal. He's more technical, a crazy resume. Triple G don't even have a crazy resume. And this is not a Triple G bash video, but we got to keep it real. I got to keep it buck like a dollar store. Triple G don't have the resume like that. If you really strip it down, the only guys that had a considerable chance, if any chance, in the public's mind, those fights are all questionable. Triple G has never, in any fight, as far as I'm concerned, with a big name where you honestly thought the guy had a chance to beat him, he has never pulled away and showed super separation from his competition. Like, there's fights with everybody else, like Oscar De La Hoya. They thought he would lose to Julio Cesar Chavez, or whoever. They thought maybe Chavez Sr. would lose to Mayweather, right? They thought Mayweather would lose to Castillo or Corrales. There's been people, or Canelo or Pacquiao, but there's never really been anyone that I could think of where Triple G wasn't a heavy favorite, that he fought them, and when he fought them, he just blew them out the water. He didn't blow Canelo out the water. Those fights are highly debated and debatable. He didn't blow Jacobs out the water. In fact, the knockdown, that's, some people say, oh, the knockdown was the difference maker, which is BS, because it's a 12-round fight. One knockdown is not going to win you a fight. You got to do more than that if the fight is extremely close. So I've never even really seen separation from Triple G in anybody that we deem elite. Derevyanchenko definitely was no separation. I don't even think Triple G should have won that fight. So you didn't show separation in 24 rounds with Canelo, didn't show true separations versus Jacobs, and that was extremely close. And you damn sure didn't do it versus Derevyanchenko. And even the Lemieux fight, that was a lower output, slower paced Triple G. Triple G is not who they depicted him to be. Point blank, period. All this Mexican style and stuff that he no longer claims. He was never from Mexico. He's not Mexican, has no Mexican heritage, don't speak Spanish. All this stuff that old media put him on a pedestal and promoted for him, it just simply isn't true. So I understand it's his birthday. I'm not trying to tear the man down. I'm just telling you what it is. And me personally, a 38-year-old Triple G, you guys tell me in the comment section if you feel otherwise, but I don't see him beating Canelo. Canelo's hard enough to beat on the scorecards. You haven't been able to knock out Canelo. You didn't look good in your last fight. You're age 38. You don't have complete fighter skills and an impeccable defense or head movement or the crazy fast footwork or anything shoulder roll. You don't really have any like X factor that I believe your style will have longevity in the sport. This is a young man's game for the most part, unless you got skills. Skills pay the bills. So I think Canelo, this is kind of why Canelo waited for Triple G to keep looking vulnerable, aged him out a little bit more instead of doing an immediate third fight. And then now Canelo's going to get what he wanted, and that's to obliterate Triple G and hopefully, put it to bed and beat him worse than he did in the first fight or the second fight, and make it, this is what Canelo does, kind of, with the Kovalev situation. He didn't fight Kovalev before Andre Ward, when Kovalev was like crusher and destroying everybody. He's choosing same thing like Beterbiev. How you go up? Why don't you fight Beterbiev at 175? He's looking like a real problem. You wait till Kovalev looking like at the back half of his career. Same thing with Triple G. Triple G did not look good in his last fight. That's why they're trying to, I don't know about now with the Rona, but they're trying to put Triple G in there with the mandatory, a soft touch guy with 4 knockouts in 21 fights, 5 knockouts, something like that. Light puncher, Camille says meta, because they know if they do a Derevyanchenko fight, you could probably say goodbye to the Canelo fight, because no one's going to want to see it, because Derevyanchenko looked like he had his number. He's tough. He could take a punch. Ukrainian spirit, Olympic background, and it's just too grueling of a fight. So Triple G's kind of trying to get a paycheck. He's like willing to fight Canelo, hopefully beat him, but he knows win, lose, or draw. He already got a loss. Win, lose, or draw, he's still going to get cashed out. Versus Derevyanchenko, you're going to get a smaller paycheck, most likely, or less clout. You know, it's going to be a smaller fight, less equity in the fight, and you could still meet the same outcome and lose, because I thought he lost the first fight. So, yeah, facts is facts. 38-year-old Triple G versus Canelo, not really interested. That's my thoughts. We unpacked. So if you enjoyed this video and want more content like this on the channel, you can show your appreciation by going to the PayPal donate button or the YouTube support button, and you can donate any amount that you feel is equivalent to the value of this video. Much more to come. Thank you guys for your support. Boxing Ego, the future of boxing.